Hello there, and welcome back to Winning the Division, episode number 2. I'm your host, Ryan Smith. My co-host alongside me, Ben Troupe, former NFL tight end, also for the University of Florida. Ben, let's get right into it. Week number 1 in the NFL season is here, so I figured let's start with a preview of all of the games coming up in week 1. Chiefs, Ravens on Thursday night, the opening game to start the season. Two-time defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs facing off against the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson. What do you see as some storylines heading into this game?
I want to see if Lamar Jackson's ready for prime time when it comes to playing against, the best player in football, that being Patrick Mahomes. Yes, Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson are the only two, African-American two-time regular season MVPs. Here's the thing, though. Patrick Mahomes got five. He got five MVPs on his resume. That would be 3 Super Bowl MVPs, 2 regular season MVPs. Lamar Jackson always looks good unless he plays Kansas City. Who put him out last year? Oh, that would be Kansas City. So I just think that for me, I just want look. Let me be Lamar. You ain't got nothing to prove except who you got to be the better quarterback that day. On Thursday night, you're at home. And here's the thing about Kansas City, people. Kansas City lost week 1 last year. Remember Kansas City played Detroit 2023, lost. Everybody, oh my God.
Right. Without Travis Kelce, and people freaked out. It was without Travis Kelce.
How did that season end? Oh, that's right. Kansas City won it all. For me, this defense of Kansas City is going to be on display because when people say what be making Lamar Jackson have fits the night before he plays Kansas City, that would be Chris Jones. That would be Nick Bolton. That would be this defense of Kansas City that's not talked about enough.
Right.
But Derrick Henry is going to be having on purple and black. That's going to be weird. Just to see number 22 not wearing two-tone blue in Baltimore. So I want to see that running game, that RPO with Lamar Jackson. I want to see that. I want to see that defense in Kansas City. Hey, and I know Patrick Mahomes put on a couple of LBs this offseason, man. Don't really got more of the dad bod, but as long as he got that big arm, hey, man, I'm looking forward to see fireworks, and I want to see Patrick Mahomes get to show the whole world. While Lamar Jackson might be the most electrifying quarterback in the NFL, I'm still the best quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah. I mean, the defensive matchup in this game, I'm looking forward to. You said it, Chris Jones on that side of the football with Steve Spagnuolo calling the plays. Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, the RPO game where no one knows what's coming. And then on the flip side, obviously, you got Mahomes, and we know everybody else on that side of the ball. But the Ravens, let's not pretend they didn't lose a lot on this past season. Mike Macdonald, head coach in Seattle, their defensive coordinator. Anthony Weaver, the defensive line coach, now defensive coordinator in Miami. They lost a lot on that side of the ball. Zach Orr is the new defensive coordinator. I think I got the name right. Is a new defensive coordinator in Baltimore. Let's see how they come out against this Ravens or Chiefs offense. I mean, the Ravens are known for having a stout D, so I don't think it's going to be that much of a change if you ask me. But the national media is going to talk about all the changes that the Ravens had on that side of the ball. Can they keep up with Patrick Mahomes' first game of the season at home? We shall see. I think it's going to be a thriller. I think it's going to be a good, intense football game. I do think the Chiefs will ultimately win the game, but I think it's going to be very, very close.
I mean, listen, Chiefs start off, the Chiefs back to their winning ways. Bring 2023 but into 2024. If the Ravens ever had the best shot to beat the Chiefs, it's going to be this Thursday because everything is working on their side. The Chiefs bring in some, the Chiefs brand new offense. They got Kelce, right? Yeah, they got Mahomes. They got some new receivers, and I think the thing about Patrick Mahomes, he's proven that, look, you give me a great offense, I can win it. You give me a subpar offense, I can win it. Yeah. But here's the key. As long as I got Travis Kelce, I don't care. Like, listen, as long as I got Travis Kelce, I know they got Pacheco and then running game. If I got Travis Kelce, my security blanket, because Travis Kelce, he is there. Listen, he's there when you need him, right? I think it's going to – I agree. I think the Ravens, man, I will pick the Ravens in this one only because it's week 1. It doesn't really matter who wins or loses in week 1. And Kansas City has proven, hey, man, we don't really got to win in week 1, but we're going to still be one of the best teams in the NFL and probably the best when it's all said and done.
Yep. Let's move to Brazil on Friday, where the Packers and the Eagles take flight. No pun intended there. Green Bay Packers, Philadelphia Eagles, first game ever in the Brazil country in South America. Two contenders in the NFC, I'm going with the upset. I've got Green Bay over Philadelphia to start the season. Jordan Love, you cannot be not impressed with what he did last year. He started making some Aaron Rodgers type throws, especially in that Dallas Cowboys upset in the playoffs. Like I said, is that Rodgers or is that Jordan Love? I mean, he was balling in that game against the Dallas Cowboys, and I think that's going to carry over first game of the season. Philadelphia is a little bit older on the defensive side of the ball. Yes, they brought in some good draft picks in Cooper DeJean and Tavares Jackson from Toledo. But at the end of the day, I mean, the Packers, they talked about it. They know that there's a target on their back now. They're trying to trace Detroit, but Jordan Love, he likes to say he doesn't have a number one receiver, and I think that's true. You've got Christian Watson. You've got Romeo Doubs. You've got Dontayvion Wicks. You've got Reed. You've got the tight end Musgrave. You've got running back Josh Jacobs, and then Marshawn Lloyd, the rookie from USC, who I think is going to be their starter by the end of the year. He's that good. So they've got a loaded offense, and this Philadelphia defense, I think, is going to be up to the task, but I think the Packers do nip them. I got a late field goal at the end. Packers win to start the year. And then on the other side, Jalen Hurts and this Philadelphia offense, let's be honest, Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts did not have the best relationship last year. So Kellen Moore, he comes in, he's going to call his plays. He did his thing with Dallas. He did his thing with Herbert and the Chargers. Now he brings this over to Philadelphia. And I think the Packers defense is very underrated going into the season. Jair Alexander doesn't get talked enough a lot back there. Rashawn Gary on the defensive line. Ooh. They've got the pieces there. But I do think it's going to be kind of a cat and mouse game throughout the game as we go on. These two quarterbacks kind of throwing haymakers and seeing which defense kind of blinks first. So that's how I think this game's going to go down.
I do like Jordan Love and what he's. I mean, that first year start. I mean, what he was able to do last year. I mean, no Aaron Rodgers, no problem. I mean, he don't really have a number one receiver. I do think Josh Jacobs. I mean, is another steal in the offseason that's not being talked about enough of what he's going to mean to the balance of a Green Bay offense. When you talk about the defense, Rashawn Gary was the guy. I mean, I remember him coming out of high school up there, New Jersey, going to Michigan. Everybody was thinking, "Hey, man, is this kid going to pan out?" Listen. Big-time player, Jair Alexander, top 10 cornerback, as you mentioned. Green Bay's defense doesn't have a lot of big names, but they play big. Their game is they Quay Walker and those boys. They play big-time football over there in Green Bay, and they got that winning tradition. But here's the thing about the Eagles. Nick Sirianni realized real quick, look, man, you can't be beefing with your freaking quarterback for us to even know what's going on. Like, what are you doing? Do I think Nick Sirianni is built to be – he is literally built, literally and figuratively, to be, right, the Philadelphia Eagles. He blended in just fine with the Philadelphia Eagles fan base. Here's the thing about the Eagles. The Eagles defense, if they cannot stop the run, they were horrific against the run last year. It was awful. Well, here's the thing. This is what the defenses needed was a mentality, an attitude. Who do they bring back? Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson don't like nobody who wears opposite jerseys. Nobody, right? He's back, and you talk about the fact this Eagles defense, right? They're gonna have Devin White. Devin White, yes, Devin White. That used to be Tampa Bay. Now he's not on a 1-year contract. You talk about Jalen Carter. You talk about, I mean, they got Georgia boys all over this freaking defense. But here's the thing about this defense. You talk about Devin White. You talk about Josh Sweat. You talk about Jalen Carter. You talk about Jordan Davis. If they cannot get out the field on third down, because Hassan Reddick, who's no longer there, who went to the Jets, who, I mean, they got an APV out on him. He never showed up. Never showed up. They're gonna have to replace that production, but I just think it's gonna be too much offense. Jalen Hurts, right? The biggest offseason pickup. The biggest to me, and I know we talked about Derrick Henry before. At the end of the day, there's a young man who used to be with the Giants, who they no longer wanted him.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, I think he's going to be Saquon Barkley added to this offense to go along with Devonta Smith, AJ Brown.
Yep.
And hold on. And last time
John Dotson, they just traded for him.
Listen, I don't know what the Commander's doing. You bring over another, and he said no hard feelings against the man until he plays him. I think it's going to be a lot of offense this game. I think the Eagles going to end up, having, putting a couple more points on the board. It's in a, if you want to call this a neutral site, I mean, you're not even in the, you want to call this a neutral site. I got the Eagles winning this one, but I do agree with you though, Ryan. I think it's going to be a better game than advertised. One team got all the names. That's the Eagles. The other team got the game. That's the Packers. I think it's going to be a great game, no pun intended, but I do got the Eagles coming out on top.
For the rest of the week one, for Sunday and Monday, let's go through them a little bit more quicker, and we'll kind of just give our first initial thoughts on the game, then we'll move right through. Because I know we're also going to be doing some transactions after this, and we'll get into more of that too. But going into now Sunday, September 8th games, Pittsburgh, Atlanta, first game on the docket. I think both these teams starting new quarterbacks, obviously. I got more questions about Pittsburgh than Atlanta right now, ultimately in this game. So I think that Atlanta's going to come out on top. But I do think this will be a close game.
Yeah, I agree too. I do think Atlanta comes out on top because Atlanta has a stability at the quarterback position. They have They have the quarterback that they pick in the offseason, and they're gonna make sure Michael Pickens Jr. gonna not have to play the whole time. I'm sorry. What did Russell Wilson do to be the starter over Justin Fields? I'll wait. So because Pittsburgh has two quarterbacks and not one, I'm going to go with the Falcons and start off the season with a big win, even though Pittsburgh has the best culture in football. But right now, they got Russell Wilson driving that car. And that last time I checked, he better have good insurance because he's gotten a lot of wrecks the last couple of years.
Yeah. We've got Arizona at Buffalo at 1 o'clock. Cardinals last season went into Philadelphia. They upset the Eagles, former Jonathan Gannon, defensive coordinator, now head coach out in Arizona. So that was not necessarily a surprise. This team is capable, I think, of upsetting the Bills in week one. However, I have questions about the defense ultimately stopping Josh Allen at the end of the day. And so I think that's going to be the difference. I've got the Bills winning by about a touchdown in this game. Just too much questions on both sides of the ball for Arizona. Too young of a team, but I think they'll play well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, listen, capable is one thing for the Arizona Cardinals. Actually getting it done is another thing. Buffalo was already thinking about the postseason, even though it's the first game of the year, because they want to get off to a good start. No Stephon Diggs, no problem. Josh Allen is going to be in the MVP discussion. And, at the end of the day, when you think about what Arizona lacks culture. They lack anything worth, they got Marvin Harrison Jr. Yes, they got Budda Baker, and I couldn't tell you no one else. You know what I'm saying? Right. I played for Arizona. Obviously, they got the QB, Kyler Murray. But, yeah, I think it's going to be too much Buffalo. Good game, but I think towards the end, Buffalo will run away with it.
Tennessee at Chicago is next. Two quarterbacks. One is a rookie, a number one overall pick, Caleb Williams. The other one had to wait a little while to hear his name called. Finally, in the second round last year with the Tennessee Titans, Will Levis. I think the Bears will squeak this one out, but I think Levis is going to play much better than anticipated. I think the Titans are very sneaky in this game. I do have the Bears coming out on top, but I think the Titans defense is going to make Caleb Williams earn it week one, and I think they're going to do just enough to pull out that win.
I think the Titans got a really, really good shot because I don't think Will Levis get enough credit for the type of quarterback he was becoming last year. And let's face it, when you go in the second round, you end up being the guy. You're not the guy that, they eventually, they always wanted. But Caleb Williams, I mean, I got people talking about him being the first ever Bears quarterback to go over 4,000 yards. I don't know why that's significant. 4,000 yards don't mean anything if you ain't making the playoffs. But I think the thing about this Bears defense, man, they're gonna give this Titans offense a lot of problems. But don't doubt this Titans defense going to give Caleb Williams a lot of problems. You saw him in the offseason and you saw him in the preseason. A lot of improvising, a lot of throwing the ball outside the pocket, not really sitting in the pocket. Now, when you talk about this offense, I mean, you got it from Moore, to Allen, you know what I'm saying? I mean, to Tues, to DeAndre Swift. So they got it. Yeah, go commit. I mean, they got it. Everett. I mean, I heard that Everett, the backup tight end, the commit might be starting over commit right now. But I'm just looking forward to a game. I do think the Titans can squeak out a win because I think Calvin Ridley and Tony Pollard and D-Hop and those guys got a shot to give this. But stay away from one cornerback. If you haven't seen him, because he's locked down for Chicago. But I think because one guy is one guy is a rookie, even though he's number one overall pick, I think they're forced into some mistakes. I think the Titans eking out an ugly win against the Bears.
All right, so that's the second one we disagree on so far. You have also Eagles. I have Green Bay, I believe. Or no, so that'd be the third one. And you have the Ravens as well. So this is good. Get some disagreement early. A suicide pick or a survivor pool pick for a lot of people, I think, in this next one. New England Patriots are at the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow's return. And I think I'm going to be honest. I think the Patriots are overmatched. They're going to get rolled on the road here to start the year. I don't think this is going to – I think it's going to be about a 2-touchdown game. Joe Burrow is going to come back with a vengeance. Jacoby Brissett is going to struggle against this Cincinnati defense. And while I think the Patriots defense does have some potential, Christian Barmore being out does hurt them. Christian Gonzalez, they're not going to throw his way. They'll just throw the other way. But I think this is going to be a 2-touchdown win for the Bengals. Not much to say on this one.
Outside of Gerard Mayo making his NFL coaching debut for replacing Bill Belichick, I agree. It ain't gonna be much to go home about. Mitch Jacoby Brissett's gonna get the start. I mean, you really had 3 quarterbacks up there right now. They went with Jacoby Brissett. I think we talk about a team like Cincinnati. Listen, this is about establishing yourself as one of the best teams in the NFL, not just one of the best teams in the AFC. Joe Burrow's dyed his hair. Jamar Chase wants $1 more than Justin Jefferson to be the highest paid receiver in NFL history, which is fine. I think the thing about the Cincinnati Bengals is, man, and when Joe Burrow, and when he's healthy, they can beat anybody. And I'm sorry, Gerard Mayo, I wish you didn't have to start out with Cincinnati, a determined Cincinnati team. But yeah, I think Cincinnati gonna have their way. Good game first half. Kind of goes against the Patriots, goes towards the Cincinnati in the second half. I'm gonna go with them Bengals.
One of the games I'm really looking forward to looking through in week 1 is Houston at Indianapolis, 2 division foes facing off in Lucas Oil. Anthony Richardson's return to the National Football League, CJ Stroud's second year. Can he do what he did last year in his rookie year again? Because that's the name of the game in the NFL, is doing things again and again like those really all-time great quarterbacks can do. I've got Houston edging out in the Indianapolis in a close one. I just think CJ Stroud is going to get the best of Richardson. I think both are going to play well, but I think Richardson's too erratic early, and I think that's going to lead to some points for Houston. And I think the Stroud in the offense for the Texans with Stephon Diggs, with Nico Collins, they're going to eke out this win here over the Colts on the road to start a good start in the division in week 1.
Anthony Richardson Jr. going to have to realize this real fast. Being big, strong, and athletic in the National Football League is a dime a dozen. And while he is a rare, specimen at the quarterback position, he's going to have to figure out a way to protect himself, right? Hand the ball off, right? And get out of harm's way on third down. But this is why I'm going to go with the Texans. It's not because of that offense that you just mentioned. Will Anderson, right? You talking about Danielle Hunter, right? You talking about Derek Stingley Jr. Derek Stingley Jr. might be the best cornerback in football. I'm going to say he might be the best cornerback.
I said that week 1. Yes.
Throw the ball his way, and there's a Jalen Petrie. I mean, look, I like Indy, right? Michael Pittman Jr. and those guys. I mean, Anthony Richardson and those guys. I mean, they're going to be really, 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 really good. Problem is, they don't touch the ball every play. Anthony Richardson does. And they're waiting. Anthony Richardson played in 4 games last year, not because he's injury prone. You got to deal with injuries. This is essentially the second half of his rookie year. Starting off, you don't want to try to boost your resume with the Texans. I think it's going to be the Texans in a big way because they was good without Stephon Diggs, without Danielle Hunter. Now you add Stephon Diggs to Danielle Hunter, one to the defense, one to the offense. Give me Houston in a big way.
Yep. Jacksonville at Miami. This has one of the highest point totals to start the year in week 1. I think this is going to be fireworks galore on the scoreboard here. I'm going to give the edge to Tua and Miami because they are at home, but I could see this being a 38-34 type game. But I do have the Dolphins squeaking out this win. Tua in that offense is going to be too much for Trevor Lawrence and company to keep up with. But I do think Trevor Lawrence, this is going to be a big spot for him week 1, kind of because he's been written off a little bit, I think. And obviously he had the whole Urban Meyer thing week 1, but now this is his second year 1. But now this is his second season under Doug Peterson. He's got to come out, even in a loss. I think he'll play well, say that I'm here, I'm a force to be reckoned with, and so I think they'll play well. But I got the Dolphins winning this one.
Yeah, I agree with you when you talk about this high-powered offense. I think both of them going to go up and down the field. I mean, I do think Jacksonville might have the better of the 2 defenses because they've shown to be a little bit more crisp. I don't understand what goes on with this Miami defense when you got guys, like Jalen Ramsey and that, and that defensive secondary. They still be giving up a lot of chunk yards, a lot of big plays. But because Miami is at home, Trevor Lawrence and Tua, right, both signing their big deals, right, with both of them. One of them, I think, earned it in 2. I think the other guy was the number 1 overall pick. He's going to be your franchise guy if he doesn't, just crash his car. But I do think Miami does get a win. I do think it's going to be offensive fireworks, like you just said, Ryan. The jury's still out on both of these teams because I know, right? Here's the thing about Jacksonville. They can score points, right? But then you got Trevor Lawrence who, He's good when he's good. He's not when he's not. And then Tues and company, they're going to score points. Can they stop somebody? Because it's the first game, going to iron out some kinks, and we will see if Odell Beckham Jr. does indeed get out there on the field, which is another weapon. But I will go with them Dolphins at home.
Yep. Minnesota Vikings are at the New York Giants. 2 more games here at 1 o'clock before we switch to the 4 o'clock late window games. One of the hardest one of the hardest games, I think, for me personally to pick in week 1 because – this is a close point spread. We'll get into those as we record more episodes. We'll get into more point spreads. I chose not to do it for week 1, but I can do it for the weeks down the road. Vikings, I think, are going to clip the Giants here. This could be a very ugly, low-scoring game, in my opinion, even with Justin Jefferson playing for you, the Minnesota Vikings. The Giants have an opportunity here, I think, to showcase their improved defensive line with Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, and company. And Justin Jefferson's one player. He's not the whole team. It might seem like that, but I think the Vikings are going to find a way to get a low-scoring, eke out an ugly win on the road in the Big Apple.
Ooh, this might be a pick'em type game right here. I mean, Minnesota, the Giants. Here's the thing: you just mentioned Justin Jefferson, right? They got Jordan Addison on the other side.
TJ Hawkinson's not going to be playing to start. He started on the PUP list.
Yeah. But you mentioned Brian Burns, you mentioned Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence at the D tackle position. You can't block him. He's a top 3, 4, maybe some people say top 2 interior defensive lineman.
Yep.
The thing about the Giants, though, good God, for all the players they got on our defense, I don't know. Yeah. Their offenses, it's hard to watch Daniel Jones and company. Right? It really, really is. And they probably shouldn't have done the hard knocks with the Giants because it's like, look, man, all y'all showed us is y'all really don't want Daniel Jones. You're just gonna stick with him because of the contract. Right. Because of that, I am gonna say Minnesota does, eke out a win against the Giants team that I think, dare I say, they're gonna be bottom feeders, not just in the NFC East, but in the NFC period. I will go the Minnesota Vikings.
Last one on 1 o'clock slate. Carolina Panthers are at the New Orleans Saints. Week 1. Carolina went 0-9 to start 0-9 last year total in 23-24. The skid in New Orleans, I think, is going to come to an end just barely. I think this is going to be also a lower scoring game as well. I think Bryce Young is going to play well. Panthers have not played well in New Orleans recently, but I do think some of these receipts on Bryce Young are going to be generational this year. I think he is going to come out with a vengeance in his second year. Dave Canales is going to be that quarterback whisperer for him like he did with Geno Smith, like he did with Baker Mayfield. I could see the Panthers getting a 3 to 5 point win, a lower scoring, maybe like a 20-16, something like that. I think this is going to be lower scoring. And I think New Orleans is going to make Bryce earn it. I could see the Panthers, honestly, I could see the Panthers being down late, trailing, under 2 minutes to go, 2 minutes drive, and they're saying, Bryce, you're either going to take us down for a touchdown and win, or we're stopping you on 4 downs, and you're going to lose once again, and everyone's going to say Carolina sucks once again. And I think Bryce goes down the field, and he puts down a 2-minute drive, and he gives the Panthers a win to start the year in 2024.
Listen, before I even get to the Panthers offense, this is what people need to understand what they did in the offseason. Even though some of these guys, Derrick Brown, he signs his new deal, right?
Yep.
You talk about Ashawn Robinson. You talk about Jadeveon Clowney, right? You talk about Shaq Thompson. I didn't even know they had Clavon Chase on, right? J.C. Horn is going to be a top five cornerback if you haven't had a chance to see this man play. But here's the offense: Chuba Hubbard, Xavier Legette, Deontay Thompson, Adam Thielen, Ian Thompson. Look. They gave this man some weapons on offense, right? They gave him two in the offseason, two at the receiver position, one being a rookie that don't got to be the number one guy, Adam Thielen being the elder statesman, Deontay Thompson being the number one guy. Ian Thompson, I think, is a guy that can get open. No one likes the Saints, man. Like, people need to get off this. The Saints dynasty is over. Drew Brees is gone. Sean Payton is gone, right? They be talking about the Saints like, I think the Saints are gonna what? What? Cameron Jordan is still a defensive end, right? Tyrann Mathieu is still at safety. Derek Carr is still the freaking quarterback. I want Carolina. I'm picking Carolina 1 because I think Carolina top to bottom is a better team, even though they got a younger quarterback. No Bryce intended. in saying that. But I just think that at the end of the day, Ryan, no, I think the Carolina Panthers, they need this win because they need something. 0-9, the season is over. You're just trying to figure it out. Get a dub against one that way that you know that you're going in the right direction of Carolina and New Orleans. They can already start, making a postseason plans to go out, go overseas on vacation. Derek Carr is still a starting quarterback in National Football here in the league, and Taysom Hill is still on the roster. Man, get out of here with that nonsense, man. Get out of here.
Demario Davis, also at linebacker for New Orleans, former Jets linebacker, one of the best men in the NFL. He is someone who I've had a lot of respect for just watching him play as well. Going to the 4:00 games now, you have the Las Vegas Raiders at the Los Angeles Chargers. AFC West Division Week 1 game here. You've got Antonio Pierce versus Jim Harbaugh in his return to the NFL. Justin Herbert versus Gardner Minshew in his second starting team in 2 years. Was with the Colts last year, if we remember, after Week 4 and Anthony Richardson went down. I think the Raiders are going to be better than expected in this game, but I do think Chargers will go on the road and get the victory.
Here's the thing. Here's another picking game. Here's why. I mean, the thing about the Raiders and the Chargers is always going to be a head scratcher. The Chargers are loaded, top to bottom with talent, and it hasn't mattered. Since Justin Herbert has came into the NFL, he's put up big numbers, right? Big numbers, and it ain't his fault. No wins. You talking about Derwin James? Talking about Nick Bosa? Joey Bosa, right? I mean, it's just too many names for these guys to not be winning. I know they moved on from Mike Williams on the offense. I know they moved on, from different guys, Keenan Allen. I think Antonio Pierce and these Raiders going to be playing different, man. I just really Max Crosby, top 5 defensive player. Defensive player, not just defensive end, right, in the league. D-Hop won't, DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Adams, wants something to feel good about. Brock Bowers, big-time tight end coming out of the University of Georgia. They got him. I just think about this Raiders team. They're going to beat – I think they beat the Chargers for this reason. They ain't scared of the Chargers. They're like, I don't care. They ain't our division. They haven't really done anything. Give me the Raiders with a big dub against the Chargers. And like I say, even though Antonio Pierce is a brand-new head coach, Harbaugh is back, in the NFL as a head coach. I think Harbaugh going to get welcomed back to the National Football League in a losing effort. I mean, I think he's going to turn it around. It will not happen in Week 1. Give me the Raiders.
Okay, I like your reasoning there. I'm still going to go with the Chargers, but I like your reasoning. Denver Broncos are at the Seattle Seahawks, and no, Russell Wilson is not walking through that door for Denver. They shipped him out. It's so not going to be a Russell reunion once again. It's actually going to be Bo Nix, the rookie quarterback, starting for the Denver Broncos, going into that hostile 12-minute environment in Seattle. I know the rookie quarterback is getting under a lot of pressure from the Seattle defense, not just because Seattle is known for that, but because Mike Macdonald was their new coach, and he did that a lot with Baltimore. He had C.J. Stroud like a deer in the headlights Week 1 last year in his rookie debut as well. So if he can do that to C.J. Stroud, I don't think Bo Nix is going to stand much of a chance here. I think I got Seattle big.
Yeah, I got Seattle too. I mean, that 12th man doesn't get enough credit for how well, the Seattle played to them. I think Bo Nix is going to end up having an okay rookie season. I don't know how well him and Sean Payton are going to get along. I mean, because the thing about it is if Sean Payton can't find a way to respect the veteran quarterback that had the resume for Russell Wilson, how well are they going to pair with a Bo Nix who's going to have rookie growing pains? But I agree. I mean, the thing about Seattle is this. They have a really, really nice culture up there. It's very, very different. Geno, so you're talking about Lockett, you're talking about, Metcalf and company. They're going to be really, really good. That defense is going to give Bo Nix a lot of fits. But once again, who does Bo Nix have to throw the ball to? Once again, I mean, outside of Sutton, this whole offense is very unrecognizable for Denver. Outside of Nix and Sutton, you're like, who your friends, man? Oh yeah, these my other
Marvin Mims. I think might take a step this year. We'll see.
He might. But listen. So for me, I give Seattle getting a big win. But I will say, Bo Nix is going to show a lot of promise in Week 1. But when he does, just like a Caleb Williams, when they do make rookie mistakes, hey, because they're rookies. Just because you go first round doesn't mean you're not going to make rookie mistakes. But shout out to Bo Nix, man. Started off at Auburn, ended up at Oregon. First round pick. Now get to start in the NFL. Come a long way in a very short amount of time, man. Very, very impressed with Bo Nix.
We've got the Dallas Cowboys at the Cleveland Browns. And before we get into this specific game, this also marks Tom Brady's broadcasting debut in this game specifically. He will be in Cleveland calling this game for Fox. Just pointing that out there for those who care about that sort of thing. It's a new season. It's different teams. However, The Browns were 8-1 at home last year. Cowboys 4-5 on the road, and that's why I have Cleveland winning this game. And Dallas is going to start panicking early. Just game one, those Cowboy fans are going to be up in arms, but I've got the Browns winning in a thriller. And Deshaun Watson is going to play well. I know people have their things with him, but he's going to play well. Nick Chubb doesn't matter. Jerome Ford, he's going to be able to run on this Dallas defense. They'll run away from Micah Parsons. Amari Cooper is going to be the younger Amari Cooper. Jerry Jeudy's going to step up. And then Jim Schwartz, defensive line for the Cleveland Browns. Enough said. Dak's going to get pressured all day. They're at home. They're going to use the crowd. But it's going to be a great game, though. Don't get me wrong. I think Dallas will be in it at the end, but I think Cleveland will clip them by a point or two.
Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore, Jerry Jeudy, David Njoku, Deshaun Watson. Then you start talking about Myles Garrett and company. I mean, you talking about Zadarius Smith. They gonna get after Zach. They gonna get after Dak. Here's the reason why I got the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns are establishing the culture up there, and they understand that, look, man, it's not about what you did the previous years, what you did the current year. I think those guys are going to rally around Deshaun Watson, who is the wild card, Ryan, because we haven't seen him play legitimate, like good football, like 3 years now, dealing with everything in Houston and getting the big contract, coming to Cleveland, getting hurt. But the thing about Dallas is this. I think Dallas cares about headline more than wins. Michael Parsons wants a new deal, didn't get it.
You're not wrong.
CeeDee Lamb missed the whole offseason just to get his big deal. Dak Prescott still wants his money, right? I think the thing about the Dallas Cowboys, they are definitely America's team, but I think I won't panic. Week 1, like you just mentioned, Ryan. So for that, Cleveland will get the dub because I think top to bottom they are a better team. At Denzel Ward, people. Man, we talking about these cornerbacks you know about. Throw to his side if you want to. Throw the Denzel Ward side if you want to. But he's gonna be matched up with CeeDee Lamb or Michael Gallup or one of those guys. But I got Cleveland getting a big win. Deshaun Watson, just like these quarterbacks we've been talking about, these youngest, Deshaun Watson got to build his confidence up like when he was a rookie. He hasn't played in a long time, but he gets a big win in week 1 because he's gonna need to keep pace in that division. What? In that division that he's in with Cincinnati and Baltimore, you want to start getting as many wins as you can because it's gonna be a race to the down the stretch. But give me Cleveland upsetting them Cowboys, and I want X, Twitter, whatever you call it these days, to be going crazy with these Dallas Cowboys on meltdown mode in week 1.
Yeah. 3 more games left for the week 1 docket, and then we're going to switch gears to some transactions, overreactions, headlines, that sort of thing. Washington Commanders at Tampa Bay. Give me the rookie Jaden Daniels. I say this as a Florida fan. It kind of pains me, but give me Jaden Daniels, the LSU product, to go into Tampa Bay, upset Baker Mayfield week 1 on the road down there in the hot, muggy Tampa sun. I've got Jaden Daniels connecting with Terry McLaurin for multiple touchdowns. That defense, now Tampa's going to score. Don't get me wrong. Their defense is not quite the same. Dan Quinn's got to build that back up, being in his first year as head coach. So that it might be a shootout, or it might be a lower scoring game. Who knows? But I think Jaden Daniels is going to get this done. It's going to be an impressive rookie debut for the young man out of LSU. Give me the Washington Commanders.
If you never met Jaden Daniels before in person, never seen him do an interview, the young man is confident. He has swagger, to the roof, and he's just very, very confident. And you got two former Heisman Trophy winners going up against each other. One being the number 1 overall pick in Baker Mayfield, number 2 overall pick in Jaden Daniels. I think Jaden Daniels goes down there and establishes himself as the better quarterback that day. Listen. That it's about being the better quarterback that day. And you mentioned that Commanders defense. You know who's running that Commanders defense, right? That would be Bobby Wagner. Remember Bobby Wagner? What? From the Seattle Seahawks? Yeah. Former of the round. He is the one running everything in the middle right now for that Commanders defense. And that still has Allen and company and Payne and those guys. They got a really, really good D. But I think Tampa's going to be a much different team this year. I know they gave Mike Evans his money. I know that Baker Mayfield had a real nice season. But think about Baker Mayfield, Ryan. Can he do it twice? Yep. See, he can have a good season. Can he have 2 good seasons or back to back? But I do agree. I think the Commanders start off with a big dub. Listen, Commanders, new coach, new quarterback, new colors. Let's have something to feel good about, because there's nothing, and let me say this, there is nothing greater than week 1 in the NFL. It's the greatest day in football, man. I know people think it's college. It is NFL. But give me them Commanders going down there, whatever color scheme the Commanders got. I still don't know what a Commander is. But it's Commanders versus the Bucs. I will take the Commanders.
Los Angeles Rams are at the Detroit Lions on Sunday Night Football. The Lions edged the Rams out in an NFL playoff game last year. I think having this matchup week 1 rematch is absolutely wonderful. I am excited for this game. Give me the Lions once again edging out Stafford in a just heartbreaking way for Stafford. I know how much he wants to get back there and get a W over his former team, but I have the Lions nipping the Rams on a last-second field goal to take the win.
Listen, Coach Campbell and what he's done for the mentality of the entire Detroit, Lions team and organization it's beautiful to watch. I mean, when you talk about what he's meant, they was on Hard Knocks a couple of years ago, and he was saying, listen, fella, just believe in what we're doing. Just take it day by day, inch by inch. I'm real happy for both quarterbacks. Jared Goff, they literally switched teams. Jared Goff was out with the Rams. He comes over to Detroit. Matthew Stafford leaves. Detroit goes out with the Rams. Both of them played the Super Bowls. Even though one of them has a Super Bowl, I think for Jared Goff and company, though, they're a different mentality type team. Now, that defense for Detroit gonna have a lot. Listen, with Puka and freaking, they're gonna have a lot to deal with, with that offense for the Rams. Sean McVay, he gets it done with Cooper Kupp and company. But Detroit, once again, we talking about stability. Those guys are saying, listen, man, we're not a flash in the pan. We were good last year. We're going to be good this year. We started off the season with a dub last year against the Super Bowl winning champs, the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's go with it. Let's go. Two teams that's picked to do great things this year in the NFC. But once again, Jared Goff, he gonna look at Matthew Stafford and say, hey, man, what? Man, you probably one of my idols, man. Grew up watching you, man. But I got a dub against you last year. I'm gonna get a dub against you this year. Listen, and not the personal, just business. And if you ever seen Detroit play the last couple of years around, they all business. Give me them Lions starting off the season 1-0, just like in 2023.
And then we end the week 1 campaign at Levi Stadium. New York Jets are out at San Francisco 49ers on Monday Night Football. First return of Monday Night Football for the 2024 season. San Francisco has. Well, let's go ahead and get into some of these transactions with this game because I know it fits a little bit. Brandon Ayuk just signed his new contract extension. He had that whole saga throughout the whole offseason. That just ended. He got his money. He's staying in San Francisco through 2028. Trent Williams, I'm hearing he might miss week 1. That is a real thing. I don't think people are understand how much Trent Williams wants his money before week 1. I think there's a real chance that he may not play. And if that is the case, that is very, very problematic for the 49ers. So what are your thoughts on just those two transactions before we get into the game really quick, and anything else kind of surrounding the 49ers? And then you have the Jets too, actually. Hassan Reddick, he didn't report after he had the whole introductory press conference. He did his thing there, and the Jets traded for him. And then it's like the Jets didn't give him a new contract, or maybe they did, but he didn't think they did. There's some miscommunication there, and Aaron Rodgers, as you said, is always in the headlines. And then Christian McCaffrey dealing with the calf strain. I think he's going to be okay. He should be fine for week 1, but he was injured, not just held out for this preseason. He was injured. They lost their backup running back Elijah Mitchell for the entire season. So the normal backup to C-Mac is also out. So a lot going on in this game, just the storylines, not even the football, just a lot of storylines going in this game. So what are your thoughts on the storylines? And then we'll get into the game.
Brandon Ayuk showed two things. He showed a lot of patience and professionalism this offseason when you look at the fact that he was looking around, not the fact that, bigger than the fact that he wasn't getting his money, Ryan. He's watching all these other receivers get their money, right? He's watching what's going on with CeeDee Lamb and coming to him getting his money. And here's the thing. Brandon Ayuk was a first-team All-Pro, just like CeeDee Lamb. First team. That means I would consider the best stats and play. I would consider the best, player at my position, or one of the best players in my position. And he just waited out. Thought he was going to go to Cleveland. Thought he was going to go to Pittsburgh. Thought he was going to go to all these other teams. Just waited his time. Finally got his money. And here's the thing. John Lynch comes out and said at a certain point you got to play football. Pay him. So now that you paid him, right? Y'all can be hugs and kisses and all this. He's back on the field. Trent Williams, the best left tackle in football. Trent Williams is the best left tackle in football, and he wants his money. People saying, yeah, man, but he already got paid. Yeah, we want to get paid again because in his mind, I'm better than these other guys getting their money. No, I'm not young anymore, but my play has Yeah, so I just think for a guy like Trent Williams, it is going to be a big miss because you don't realize how much Brock Purdy can just sit back there in their pocket, not have to worry about his blind side, and just deliver the football. And I know he got Ayuk, I know he got Debo, right? I know he got George Kittle and company, and then we'll get to Ricky Pearsall here in a second. It's gonna be a different world because now whoever the backup is to Trent Williams, you know why we don't know his name? Because he didn't play. Trent Williams is durable and he's one of the best. Now with the Hassan Reddick thing, that's a head scratcher. Not from the Hassan Reddick side. Everyone knows if I'm one of the top pass rushers in the league and I get traded, I get a new deal. You don't believe me? Did Brian Burns get traded? Yeah. What happened? He got a new deal. Remember Montez Sweat got traded from the Commanders, to the Browns. He got a new deal. So Hassan Reddick, ain't this in the playbook? I get you. Listen, the team I'm on don't want to pay me because I'm going to demand too much money. I get traded to a team. I want a new deal. Y'all probably tell me I'm gonna get a new deal. Then you tell me, listen, man, we're gonna just wait it out. No, because let's call it what it is. Y'all the Jets. I didn't ask to come here. Y'all traded for me. So now you trade for me. You don't want to pay me? No, trade and pay. That's how you trade for him. And you pay Hassan Reddick. He might not show up now, but I will say this: even though Hassan Reddick might not show up, they might not miss him for this Jets defense. Have you seen this Jets defense? They got D-line, linebackers, defensive backs.
They are pretty loaded on that side of the ball.
Because why I say Derek Stingley Jr., I said he might be the number one cornerback in the league. The reason why I said Mike, because Sauce Gardner got something to say about that. He said, "What you mean, the best cornerback?" Because Sauce Gardner 2 years in the league, 2 years first team All Pro. But Hassan Reddick, I hope cooler heads do prevail. Trent Williams, I hope they give him something to satisfy. Maybe it's a 2-year deal that makes him the highest paid. 2 or 3 year deal making the highest paid. And Brian, listen, Ayuk, I commend you, sir, for going on different shows to promote yourself to get your money. Next time you want to promote yourself, come on over here to win the division. We'll promote you on here. You know what I'm saying? Listen, if you want to come through and talk a little bit, listen, our platform is your platform. We ain't got the money to pay you. That you got to get that from San Francisco, but I am happy that he got his deal.
Absolutely. Before we predict this game really quick, I will say, so in case you did not see the news or were living under a rock, Ricky Pearsall, former Florida rookie receiver for the 49ers, is thankfully going to be okay after a attempted robbery out in San Francisco. He did get shot, but he is now going to be okay. Thankfully, his mom and all the team has come out and said, he's going to make a full recovery. And obviously that is really good news to hear on that side of things. And we are just hoping that he is going to be able to get back into football wise here soon. I don't think he's going to play week 1, maybe out of precaution. That's my guess. But just glad to see he's okay and he's going to be able to just continue learning football and just adjusting to the NFL after, a scary situation out there in San Francisco. You can never take life for granted. So good to see he's okay. Do you want any comment on that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm just, prayers go out to Ricky Pearsall. I'm happy that he is okay. I know he came out and said he was just lucky. I mean, sometimes, these young men in these limelight positions like a Ricky Pearsall, unfortunately, sometimes you have to be reminded, man, that you are a target. That doesn't mean you have to live your life in fear. Doesn't mean you have to live your life cautiously, but you have to be careful, man. And these are such uncharted territories when you think about it, Ryan. I mean, this man is, he was the only player drafted from Florida in the first round to the San Francisco 49ers. And you're looking at, breaking news, somebody come up to you, they're trying to rob you. I mean, thank God, man. I think the guy that was trying to rob him, I think like fighting for the gun, I think he ended up getting shot as well as the person trying to rob him. But all that being said, I'm just happy he's at the hospital. Obviously, you got to be careful when you talk about security in a place like San Francisco, a big place. But football is secondary. Who he is as a person and his health is primary. I'm just happy that he is going to be okay. But like you said, Ryan, take a couple of weeks off to get yourself back healthy, man. But I am happy that everything. It didn't turn out okay, but he is okay. Praying for that young man.
Yeah. If Trent Williams plays, I have the San Francisco 49ers winning this game in a shootout. I think this is going to be a really good game, assuming Aaron Rodgers plays more than 4 plays as well. I think he will dice up this defense. I think it's going to be a pretty good game. But it's simple as that. If Trent Williams, for me, if he plays, I have the Niners winning in about 3 points. If Trent Williams does not play, I have the Jets winning. That's really what it comes down to for me. I think Trent Williams literally can tip the scales in that direction. The Niners, have, like you mentioned, loaded on offense. This Jets defense is loaded on the D-line linebacker, so it should be kind of a strength versus strength on that side of the ball. And then, listen, the 49ers, same thing. Jets are loaded on offense. San Francisco's loaded on defense. So it's really a strength versus strength on both sides of the ball. Should be a great matchup, but I have the 49ers winning this game if Trent Williams, with the condition he does play. If he does not, then I will go with the Jets.
If the Jets offensive line can hold up and keep Aaron Rodgers healthy, I think I got the Jets winning this game for this reason. I don't think Trent Williams is going to play because of a pride reason. I mean, I'm not going to hold out for as long as I did just to give in because I don't want to pay some fine money. I do think sometimes you don't know what you got till it's gone, Ryan. And a guy like Trent Williams' situation, if he's not going to be out there, it's going to show. Brock Purdy, listen, Quentin Williams and that D line. They're about as good as they get. They're about as good as they get. And I just think that, for a guy like Brock Purdy who needs to be upright, he's going to have to do the quick passing game. You're not going to move the ball that much on this Jets defense. I don't see you just moving the ball up and down. And I know you got, George Kittle, the best all-around tight end that's blocking and catching, who was a first-team All-Pro last year. Debo is going to be neutralized. Because obviously they're going to put Sauce Gardner, on Brandon Ayuk. I mean, as we mentioned, Ricky Pittsburgh's not going to play. San Francisco is a really, really good team. They loaded. I mean, Fred Warner, that defense. But I just think, for me, I think if Aaron Rodgers plays, you're going to see the difference he makes. Like the difference he makes, not just for the offense, but for the entire team, for the mentality of the team. You said if Trent Williams plays, you got the 49ers win. I say if Aaron Rodgers is upright and that Jets offensive line can keep him upright, I got the Jets winning because you don't want to go into a shootout. For me, if I got to go into a shootout with Aaron Rodgers and Brock Purdy, I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers. And he got a solid – Aaron Rodgers has what he never had in Green Bay, and that's a defense. He never had a defense. That was good, not great. He got a great one now. I would take the Jets to get a big dub week one because Coach Sealer, he needs something to feel good about because he's definitely on the hot seat right now with a Jets team that's got big-time postseason aspirations.
Well, thank you for that. I hope everyone enjoyed those predictions. Let's slide into, if we can, to some transactions and some headlines. Let's overreact a little bit, and then we'll get you out of here. And we'll let you continue on with other listening podcasts. But do rate, review, subscribe. We'll get to that at the end of the show, wherever you get your podcast. Let's get into some transactions here. We talked about Ricky Pearsall, obviously, already. Let's talk contracts, though. Brandon Ayuk got paid. CeeDee Lamb got paid. Jamar Chase, he may not get paid. We'll see. Dak is still waiting on his deal. Do you think Dak and do you think Jamar Chase will be getting paid before week one, or do you think both of those are going to be waiting until next year?
I do think Jamar Chase will get paid before week one. It's probably going to come out right before their game. I think it's all about giving somebody their moment. He's already come out and said, look, I want to make $1 more than Justin Jefferson, right? And if you look at the numbers, right, Justin Jefferson has more catches. Justin Jefferson has more yards. Justin Jefferson's also been in the league a year longer than Jamar Chase. I think Justin Jefferson has one more touchdown or one less touchdown than Jamar Chase. So with all the catches and the yards, it's cool. But you don't score. You don't win games for catches and yards. You win it for getting in the end zone. And Jamar Chase does that with the best of them. And what else Jamar Chase has helped him do? He helped reshaping the entire norm and culture up there in Cincinnati by already going to a Super Bowl. I do think CeeDee Lamb will get his money. Dak Prescott is a head scratcher because I don't think Dak Prescott should have to wait for his money because at the end of the day, when Tony Romo was with Dallas Cowboys, he never had to wait on a new contract. I think he signed like 2 or 3 of them, right? People say that. People say so, but they say, well, I don't think Dak Prescott is better than Tony Romo. Dak Prescott's the reason why Tony Romo's in the booth. Yeah, Tony Romo was the starter when Dak Prescott got drafted. Dak played so well. Tony Romo never played another down of football. Never played again. He ain't going to another team. Dak Prescott deserves his money, not because he's Dak Prescott and he has to deal with more scrutiny in life because he's a starting quarterback for the Cowboys. No one deals with more scrutiny in football than he started quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. Tony Romo is a household name because half of how he played, other half of who he played for. Dak Prescott need to get his money. Like I said, shout out to Brandon Ayuk. Get his money. Shout out to CeeDee Lamb and these receivers are reshaping the market, man. I mean, it seems like every time one of them get their deal, they reshape the market. $100 million receivers are a norm now. I'm happy for my Ayuk, the CeeDee Lamb.
DJ Moore got his money too. He had 2 years left on his deal. He got a boatload of money.
So I mean, listen. Moore getting his money. I mean, I know that AJ Brown got a contract. Said Tyreek Hill got a contract. So these receivers are getting their money. Listen. If you listen, for people that are saying you want to play cornerback and not receiver, I would beg to differ. Ask these receivers, even St. Brown up there with the Detroit line, he got his money. So people are getting paid. Shout out to the receivers.
Before we switch gears, also speaking of receivers, Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown will be missing the Chiefs opener on Thursday after that injury in training camp. So he has made incredible progress in touring to the team, but he will be out week 1. I don't think that changes much for the Chiefs. They wanted him to be that downfield threat, but that should be someone they'll be depending on hopefully in the weeks to come.
Yeah. Listen, hoping that Marquise Brown have a speedy recovery. Guys are known for speed, man. They're always dealing with some type of ailing, injuries or whatever. But Kadarius Toney, a former first-round pick for the New York Giants from Florida, that got traded to Kansas City. They actually released him. Kansas City released Kadarius Toney. See, he will find a team, maybe on a practice squad, but somebody will. Sometimes when you got like Kadarius Toney, who has already won a couple of Super Bowls, already got traded, you got to realize my worth is what I do week in and week out. People say, why is that important? Because during the Super Bowl last year, he was on TikTok with his face all blacked out talking trash. This is the business. You can't do what everybody else does because you're not everybody else. You are one of 53 players for the Kansas City Chiefs. Now you're no longer a Chief. I do think he still has a blossoming career on his hands, but wherever he goes, right? You remember Chase, what is it, Claypool? Yeah, remember him coming out of Notre Dame? Yeah, Chase Claypool. I mean, started off incredible with the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? Then ran out of welcome. Then went to Chicago. Then went to Miami. Then went to Buffalo. Now he's a free agent. I'm telling you, Tyler can only take you so far in the National Football League. At a certain point, you got to become a professional, not a pro. Listen, getting drafted makes you a pro. Learning what the pros do makes you a professional. The two are not mutually exclusive. But I do think Kadarius Toney, guys like Chase Claypool, you don't find receivers that can get open. A dime a dozen just walking down the street. So hopefully both of those guys land on their feet.
Let's go through some other transactions, non-receiver related, and we can kind of just react to them as we go. Former UCF and Nebraska coach Scott Frost is joining the Rams as an analyst. I don't know if you saw that news. That just broke out not too long ago. Matt LaFleur for the Green Bay Packers. They released their kicker, Daniel Carlson's brother, who played for the Packers, Andres Carlson. He is now a former Packer. And then Braden Narvesen is the former now current kicker for the Packers now. I don't know a lot about Narvesen, I'll be honest, but Matt LaFleur does have confidence in him. And then one more kicker news, Dicker, the kicker in Chargers in L.A., Cameron Dicker, he signed a new-year deal, 4 years, $22 million. So talk to us about being a former player. I know you weren't a kicker yourself, but how important is it for a team to have a reliable kicker in the NFL and just being able to come through clutch every Sunday?
I mean, they're the kicker, a punter, and a long snapper are the most necessary positions on the football field, because if you have to go to their backups, life is going to get extremely hard for you. No one needs a kicker till you need him, right? No one wants a kicker till you need one. And I will say this. I mean, the thing about these kickers is, yes, they are football players too. People say, how do you know they're important? I give you the New England Patriots dynasty got started with Adam Vinatieri. He was the one kicking the game winners. Go back to the early 2000s, right? You need a kicker. And I think the thing about these kickers now, Ryan, they listen, everybody expect the kicker to make it no matter what. If it's raining, good conditions, bad conditions, 60-yarder, 50-yarder, but they got a skill set. I mean, and look, no one they warming up all game long, right behind the benches, kicking that little net. Shout out to the kickers getting paid though, because I think the thing about it is, if you're a good kicker, you'll play for 10 years. If you're a great kicker, you'll play for 20. So so shout out to all those kickers, and everybody got something to say about a kicker. Just go to your neighborhood, Walmart, Target, Dick's, Academy Sports. Go get you a ball. Go out to a random field. And say, and listen, and that game winner that your kicker missed, and you throwing stuff at your TV, you go try to kick it with no crowd, with nobody rushing you. Just kick it. And after you tear your hamstring trying to do it, take your non-athletic behind back home, soak in some Epsom salt, call that kicker, tweet him, and apologize. Because I'm telling you, listen, as rare as Aaron Rodgers is, as rare as a Peyton Manning is, as rare as a Tom Brady is, kickers are even more rare. Because guess what? If Tom Brady gets hurt, another quarterback comes in. If he gets hurt, another quarterback comes in. You know who has to kick if the kicker gets hurt? The punter. You know who has to punt if the punter gets hurt? The kicker. Because you know who's the backup long snapper? People like myself. I was a backup long snapper. Couldn't do it then. Show can't do it now. Shout out to the kickers, snappers, and punters. They are the most rare. They are a lime green, a burnt orange diamond, purple diamond. They are rare. Shout out to the kickers getting their money. Because like you say, Ryan, don't nobody care about the kicker until the game been going back and forth and they come down to 3 seconds left and they're trying to ice the kicker. Game over.
Anything on the Scott Frost to LA Rams as an analyst? I know
I like that. I like that for Scott Frost for this reason. I mean, start off at UCF, then try to go back home to Nebraska. Listen, I don't believe in the former players going back to their alma maters to be the head coaches. It doesn't work out well. I know it worked out well for Kirby Smart. I know it worked out well for Steve Spurrier, and the list is that short. So former players going back to coach their teams as a head coach. Mario Cristobal, beat the brakes off my Gators this weekend. It's all good. We shout out to them Canes for getting it done. But I'm happy for Scott Frost because he wants to go from the college to the NFL again. And once again, man, Sean McVay. You remember how all them coaches under Sean McVay was getting all them head coaching jobs when he first became a head coach with the Rams? If you knew Sean McVay, played golf with Sean McVay, you was getting a head coaching job. Shout out to Scott Frost, man, starting over again, man, with them Rams. I think it's going to be good for him to just get – because coaches want to coach, whether it's as a coordinator, a position coach, head coach. Coaches want to coach. Shout out to Scott Frost because, like I say, he went through a lot in Nebraska, but Nebraska one of those teams that outside of Tommy Frazier running that triple option back in the day hasn't been much to go off of. But shout out to Scott Frost, landing in LA, man. They go from Nebraska to Los Angeles. I mean, you can do worse in your life, sir. So shout out to you.
Yep. Giants brought back Adoree Jackson, familiar name there. He's been with the Titans, been with the Giants, obviously now back in year for another stint with the Giants. And then also prayers up to Mark Andrews. He had a car accident a few weeks back. Good to see him back and ready to go for week 1 after that incident there. And then I'll actually get into some superlatives to end this episode, but anything on those two things real quick before we
I was extremely happy for Mark Andrews, man, getting these accidents. Sometimes we forget the fact that these guys, because they're superhuman in what they do on the field, we forgot that they had to deal with human experiences off the field. I remember so many years back when Cam Newton was in his accident and people was like, and he played that same.
He played through that, yes.
He played through that, man. So y'all be careful out there, man. I mean, that's why we have insurance accidents do happen. Shout out to Adoree Jackson. Get back with them G-men landing on his feet. And like I say, I mean, the NFL, man, it's a very, very short stint. Whether it's 1 year or 10 years, it seems like it's only but a day. But shout out to those players, man, finding a way to continue their NFL career. Shout out to Mark Andrews, man, who I think if I'm not mistaken, I think he's a type 1 diabetic, man. So he's doing it for he's representing a lot of different people every time he gets strapped up. And shout out to Isaiah Likely, his backup. That is the best tight end duo, I think, in the National Football League. Watch out for that Isaiah Likely, Mark Andrews duo against them Chiefs, coming this Thursday night.
Before we get to those superlatives, was there any other headlines or transactions that you wanted to get to that I didn't shout out? Anything else that you wanted to bring up? You are the co-host of this podcast as well. No,
I mean, the thing about the National Football League, I mean, I think that sets itself apart is with everything that goes on from, transactions, the head coaches, the players getting cut. Listen, to every player that just got cut. Because the thing about the National Football League that's different in colleges, you got 85 scholarship guys. In the NFL, you get cut. You got to go from 90 guys, I think, like 95 guys, you got to cut down to like 53 guys. There are a lot of guys that just might have just played their last down of football professionally. Let me tell you something. You are not a loser. You did it. It's a numbers game. I didn't say a talent thing. You were talented enough. There were players who had big-time college careers. I mean, all-Americans. I mean, all conference players that just got cut. If you want your career to keep going, do this. Stay in shape. Hopefully made it on the practice squad. But there is a USFL, there is a UFL, there is a XFL, there is Canadian football if you want to continue going. And if you played your last down of football, congratulations. Because when people say, I didn't make it, yeah, you did. It's a numbers game, man. It's a numbers game. I just want to make sure I say that because as a person that had to see people get cut who were really, really good football players, listen, not for long, man, not for everybody. And just because you didn't make it don't mean you didn't get a chance to see what it felt like to be out there with the best in the world.
Well, before we wrap up and we'll get you out of here, let's do our quick superlatives for the season. We did our season predictions last year, the breakdown of each division standings. We'll put some clips out so you can see those if you've missed those. But let's go through our superlative. Let's start with offensive rookie of the year and defensive rookie of the year. Who do you got? I'll let you go first.
Ooh, offensive rookie of the year. Wow. I said my offensive rookie of the year. I go with Jaden Daniels. I think he got a really, really good shot to be rookie of the year. I think that what he's going to bring to the table this year is gonna be something. He's going to be he's going to be instant offense. He's going to be instant offense. I think that he's going to be a guy that's going to be very, very excited, and it's going to get them Commanders fans and team something to look forward to. He's not the biggest guy though. Got to keep him healthy. But I got Jaden Daniels as my offensive rookie of the year. Defensive rookie of the year, man. I'm trying to see where these defensive guys went. You might have to help me with these defensive rookies, man. I mean, it's so many of them.
So you've got Cooper DeJean, Peyton Wilson, Chop Robinson, Edgerrin Cooper, Terrion Arnold, Quinion Mitchell, Byron Murphy II, Liatu, Dallas Turner, Jared Burse. Those are some of the.
You know what? I listen. I remember. Listen, I do like Jared Burse. I've heard a lot of good things. Him coming out of that. Was he with that Rams camp? I like Jared Burse coming from Florida State, a guy that was a big time player. So give me Jared Burse out of coming from Florida State, out of representing the Rams. I heard some lot of great things. Plus, he got a chance to be defensive rookie of the year because they're not putting everything on him. He's a part of a good defensive line who had to. So give me Jared Burse.
So I thought long and hard about this, and as much as I wanted to pick a quarterback, and I almost did, but I'm going to go with Marvin Harrison Jr. I think he's going to have a difference maker for the Arizona Cardinals in that way. He is going to be a guy who is going to come out, provide that stability for Kyler Murray. I've got Marvin Harrison Jr. setting records as a rookie. And then on defense, I got Liatu for the Indianapolis Colts. I think he is going to be a star in this league. If you don't know his backstory, he retired medically. He had a neck injury. He medically retired, and then he was cleared to go to another school, transfer to UCLA, and kind of the rest is history. Got drafted in the first round, fell a little bit because of his neck and medical concerns. But I think he's going to take the league by storm. He's someone that I really like coming out of UCLA and will be on the Indianapolis Colts for this rookie season. Coach of the year, who do you got?
Oh, man, coach of the year. My coach of the year, DeMeco Ryans. This is the thing, right? This is why I'm going to go with DeMeco. You talk about a guy that's already had a schedule. You talk about a guy that didn't know what he was doing as a rookie head coach or with a rookie quarterback, but now you got 1 year under your belt and you get to run away with that division. You talk about adding a guy like Stephon Diggs, adding a guy like Danielle Hunter, Derek Stingley Jr. You got some play. You got a team, Will Anderson, those guys that believe in you, and you're in the AFC South. I think they're going to run away with the AFC South. I don't see the Colts being, that I think the Titans are going to play well. And Jacksonville, they got to find a way to know who, with the real Trevor Lawrence, please stand up. I will go with DeMeco Ryans, my coach of the year, one of the best teams in the AFC. Definitely going to win the AFC South. Give me DeMeco Ryans.
I've got DeMeco as well. I think he could have gotten the votes. He got votes last year, and he did not win it. And so I've got DeMeco this year as well, going with coach of the year. I think he's going to prove that last season wasn't a fluke, and he's a really good coach, and I think that's going to be it done. Offense and defensive player of the year. I'll go first on this one. So I've also thought about this one a while. I think Jefferson is going to come out and show that even though he's got Sam Darnold throwing him the football, that's not going to matter. He's going to come out and he is going to be lights out. He's motivated. That injury last year cost him some games. He wants to still show that he is that guy, and he is the number one receiver in the league for this reason. I've got Justin Jefferson winning Offensive Player of the Year. And then on defense, Myles Garrett won it last year, and while I do very think he can do it again, I have got Micah Parsons with Defensive Player of the Year, coming in with a new coaching stage with Mike Zimmer now calling the plays, with Dan Quinn now in Washington. I've got Micah Parsons holding down that side of the ball. He wants to get paid. Remember, he's a contract year next year. So he wants to get paid. He wants to show that he's still a force to be reckoned with, which he obviously is. It has been since he's been in the league. So I've got Micah Parsons on defense for Defensive Player of the Year.
Ooh, my offensive player of the year. Listen, the only player in NFL history to go back-to-back 1,700 yards, right? Back-to-back 1,700 yards with Tyreek Hill. I think he's going to go 3 straight years. I don't see nobody stopping him because his first 2 years he's trying to learn the offense, get used to the offense. Now he knows it. And he got OBJ. That's going to pull the coverage. He still got Devon. He still got Jalen Waddle. I think Tyreek Hill is my offensive player of the year because remember this time last year we were talking about this boy potentially being when they did the top 100, Ryan, voted on by the players. Who was number 1? That was Tyreek. Voted on by the players now. Voted on by the players. He is my offensive player of the year. No, my defensive player of the year is a guy that should have won defensive player of the year last year. That would be Josh Allen of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Check his number. 17.5 sacks last year, right?
Joshua Hines Allen now. Yes.
Yeah, Joshua Hines Allen. Yeah, to distinguish him from the Josh Allen up there with the Buffalo Bills. 17.5 sacks. Got his money in the offseason, right? I think added arms there to go along with Trayvon Walker on the other end. This is a guy, right? Once again, just like I was saying with D'Amico Ryans in the AFC South, the reason why he didn't win it because the AFC South is not a sexy division. You don't have a bunch of wild teams, in the entire National Football League, but 17.5 sacks. Listen, if he can take 17.5 to 18, 19, 17.5 sacks is a phenomenal year. That's 2 years worth of sacks. He goes to, just say he has another replete season, 17.5, 18 sacks. But here's the thing, he got to lead the league in sacks. I would go with Josh Allen for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Not a household name yet. Be on the lookout. And the reason why is that's why he added the hyphen to his name because people hear Josh Allen and think Buffalo Bills, but give me the other Josh Allen that chases quarterbacks for my defensive player of the year.
And then finally, last 2, comeback player of the year. I've got Joe Burrow. I think Aaron Rodgers is ultimately going to win the award if he plays more than 4 snaps. But I'm going to say Joe Burrow is going to play ultimately. I think they're going to have the better record than the Jets, and I think they're going to go farther than the playoffs. So I have Joe Burrow winning comeback player of the year.
I hate giving Ron Rodgers any type of love, but just like you said, Ryan, they're gonna have an Aaron Rodgers cam, just strictly for him. Walking on the sideline, walking to the stadium, going to the bathroom, going to his car. Aaron Rodgers finishes the season, upright. He gonna put up big numbers. I will go with Aaron Rodgers because it's good for ratings. Aaron Rodgers will be my comeback player of the year.
All right, last one, and we'll get out of here. Let's get our Super Bowl predictions right before the season started. I know we did our divisions last year, but if I'm not going to give a score. I'm just going to give you 2 teams that I think have a chance to get into the Super Bowl, and what my gut is telling me as of right now. My gut is telling me the Kansas City Chiefs will not get there because Tom Brady never got there 3 times either, and Mahomes and company will get to the championship game once again, like they always seem to do every year. They'll get there. I got them. Don't worry. I don't have them going that far out from the Super Bowl, but they'll get to the AFC championship game where they will lose. Are you ready for it? They will lose to the Cincinnati Bengals once again. Cincinnati is going to go to the Super Bowl. Joe Burrow, Joe Cool is going to be Joe Cool once again. And then facing them, I got the Detroit Lions getting over the top. I think they're going to finally get there this year. I know Ben's reacting like I'm on something here, but
I love it.
San Francisco has had too many headlines for my liking. And should they go to the Super Bowl from the NFC side? Yes, they have the most talent. But I think Detroit has had a nicer, quieter, cleaner offseason. And those things add up over time in San Francisco, which I think they will. And this is really the last year of the San Francisco core. Now that they paid Ayuk, Brock Purdy's eligible for an extension after this season. So if they don't win it this year, they won't be winning with that current slate of guys. But give me Detroit, though, to upset San Francisco in the NFC Championship game. We'll have a rematch, I think. Give me Detroit this time to go on top, which they should have won last year. Yeah, I'm just saying they could have, would have, should have won last year. Give me Detroit versus Cincinnati in the Super Bowl. I won't make a prediction who's going to win for now, but that'll just be my Super Bowl prediction just going into the season.
I do like what you said about Joe Burrow, Joe Cool. I do got Cincinnati in the AFC Championship game against who? Them Baltimore Ravens. I think that when you see what they was able to add, with a Derrick Henry, which means because when it gets cold, what do you have to do? You have to run the football. They have to play defense. What do the Baltimore Ravens want to do? They want to run the football, right? That's why you bring the Derrick Henry. They're gonna have the most dangerous RPO we've ever seen in football. When Lamar Jackson stick that ball, in the gut of Derrick Henry, is he gonna pull it? That front side defensive end is gonna have nightmares. Because if he crashes, number 8 is gone. If he doesn't crash, they just have the 22. And I do like Joe Burrow. You're gonna have a healthy, happy Joe Burrow, a healthy, paid Jamar Chase. But here's the thing. I just think that it's going to be too much of the Ravens in the AFC Championship game. I got the Ravens finally going to the Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
And I like your Detroit pick. I like Detroit. But there's a team in the NFC East known as the Philadelphia Eagles. Here's the thing.
That was my other consideration.
The Philadelphia Eagles, right? If they can shore up this run defense, right? If the head coach could just leave the quarterback alone, just don't even talk to him. Leave him alone, Nick. Talk to the offensive coordinator. Talk to your wife. Talk to the other coaches. Leave them alone. Listen, in the NFC Championship game, hey, man, Detroit versus the Eagles. In a nail biter. I'm talking about a nail biter. But I think in the end, Philadelphia, right? Even though Campbell go, I like the Eagles making it to the Super Bowl. So I got the Eagles versus the Ravens. And I'm not going to give a prediction either, because here's the thing. While the Eagles offseason wasn't clean, it was headlines. It wasn't what's going on with transactions. Devonta Smith got his money. They bring back Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. They get a cornerback in the draft, right? They go out there, right? And they give A.J. Brown an extension. Outside of Nick Sirianni just getting in his feelings, get out your feelings, man. Good Lord, what do you want? What? Jalen Hurts has superseded every expectation since he's been in the National Football League, because no one saw. So everybody saw him being a second-round pick that was going to be a career backup. He's already been to a Super Bowl. You know who hasn't been to a Super Bowl? Lamar Jackson, Dak Prescott, Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, and the list goes on and on and on. So for me, I love what's going on in Detroit, right? But I think the buck gonna stop with the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC Championship game. And I love what's going on in San Francisco, right? But I just think for me, Kansas City just too much, man, this year. Man. I mean, and let you know, no, Tom Brady did do a 3-peat. He actually did do a 3-peat. When he first started winning Super Bowls, he went 2004, 2005, 2006. I mean, he went back to back to back. I don't know how he did it. Well, he had Teddy Bruschi and Ty Law and all those guys. But here's the thing. That's another reason why Patrick Mahomes, boy, he wants listen, to be in the GOAT conversation, I got to do GOAT things. I got 3 Super Bowls, but I didn't get them back to back to back. And when I lost my Super Bowl, who did I lose to? Oh, shoot. I lost to Tom Brady and Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl. But like I said, I think it's going to be a great season. I wish the AA run wouldn't get a comeback player of the year. Sorry, Joe Burrow. Shouldn't have died. Dye your hair back to regular color, man. Because Aaron Rodgers already did the dye the hair blonde thing. He did that already. He got the long hair. You got the more the buzz cut. But no, man. Listen, man, this is winning the division, though, for those of you who don't know. And Ryan said something that I want to correct him on. He said, listen, we're gonna get done with this episode so you go watch other podcasts. There are no other podcasts. There is this one. When it comes to NFL, there is this podcast where we talk players, coaches, schemes, teams,
that's right,
transactions, in season, off season. No, football is all season long.
So,
so after, now what he meant to say was after you watch winning the division, then you can go and watch all.
Do what you want to do.
Exactly. But until then, sit your behind down and watch this and watch win the division. Because listen, either you win the division or you just in the division. That will be determined by you.
Yep. Rate, review, subscribe, wherever you get your podcast. This wraps up episode 2 here of Winning the Division. Again, Ryan Smith alongside former NFL tight end Ben Troupe. This podcast brought to you by the Keep Pounding Podcast Network, where you can go on Twitter or X, KP_FSSN. And then also we are powered by Fans First Sports Network, where you can find on Twitter or X at Fans First SN. We will also put it on the Tobacco Road Sports Radio YouTube page. If you're going to hear the YouTube version of this podcast, you want to see our lovely faces there, go to youtube.com/Tobacco Radio. That is where you can find us on the YouTube version. I will be posting these on my personal YouTube page. Ben will do the same on all podcast platforms where they can be found. So enjoy the content, enjoy the season, enjoy football being back. This is Winning the Division.